Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 54 of the Hayden Podcast, and this is the 1-year anniversary show. I'm so happy to bring this to you guys. I've been working on it all week, gathering the clips from some of my favorite episodes that we've done so far, and I'm excited to share it with you guys here. Let's start off. I just want to say thank you to everybody who's listened over this first year, who's reached out, who's given me advice, who's showed me support, shared with their friends, gone back and literally listened to all the episodes over again. Thank you to each and every one of you. Special shout out to my friends for coming on as guests, everyone else that came on as guests as well. I consider you all my friends. Thank you to my girlfriend for showing me support through all of this, but my friends, they're the ones that really pushed me to start this thing, and here we are, a year later. We've gone through it all this year. We've seen a virus, we've seen a United States election, and everything else in between. On this show, I want to share some of my favorite clips from episodes throughout the first year. The majority of them are coming in episodes with guests just because I really want to highlight those, and really those are the best episodes. Let's start off, however, with my first ever episode where I had no idea what to talk about, so I looked on Twitter. It was World Wildlife Day. I talked about my 10 favorite animals. Let's play the clip. On to number one, the best animal for me, Hayden Remillard, are turtles. I love turtles. When I was in the Bahamas this past winter, I saw a lot of turtles, and I love turtles.
One thing that I found when I was going back through all of these podcast episodes to find these clips was how absolutely terrible my audio quality was in the early ones especially, so I apologize for that. I said turtles about 800 times, I feel, in that little blurb. Thank you guys for sticking around even after that terrible first episode. My goodness. The next clip I want to play is from my first guest that I had on, my friend Helen Bourne, and she slipped up when she was talking. Let's play it.
You had a farm, correct?
Yes. A dairy farm.
A dairy farm. Tell me about how life was on the dairy farm.
Well, you work 365 days a day. 350. Wow. Okay. 365 days a year. 365 days a day. 350. Wow. Okay. 365 days. And it's a lot of work. So, not a lot of vacations.
I remember when we were recording that. This was actually on one of our last days of school before COVID-19 shut everything down. And I already knew in my head that I'm going to have to put in a record scratch sound effect and replay that because it's so friggin' funny. And thank you, Helen, for being a good sport with that. I know it probably wasn't easy. Being friends with us isn't easy. And I appreciate you being a good sport about that. The next clip I want to play is when everything in 2020 started to take a turn.
Of course, we're talking about the coronavirus. It's sweeping the world. Everything's getting shut down. We're seeing products being sold out at stores. I guess I'll just start with a few numbers, a few facts. These are all from worldometers.info online on my computer here. Looking at it, total cases right now, they have it at 134,679 in the entire world. Deaths are at 4,973.
It's crazy, to go back and listen to that. That was even before school had been shut down. So it's crazy to go back and listen to that, hear the numbers. At that time we were being told that it was going to take 14 days to flatten the curve, and here we are a year later. And in Canada, at least with the way the vaccine plan is going, the end's near, but it still seems so far out. Next clip I want to play you guys is the last interview I actually did in person, other than with my girlfriend who I live with. It's with my friend Jesse, and he talks about our friend Nolan and how he can be a little bit abusive at times towards Jesse.
Remember when Nolan used to call you short all the time?
Yeah, and then grew. So, suck it.
And he was shorter than you when he was calling you short.
Yeah, I know.
I have this great video on my Snapchat memories and Jesse just smacking. Was it? It was you getting smacked, I think. Nolan smacked you, or was it you smacking Nolan?
Oh, it was kind.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
By Nolan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't know why either.
I think he's just, he's got a lot of aggression, and he just doesn't show it, so he has to let it out sometimes,
Yeah, that's... Why are you so aggressive, man?
Man, did Jesse and I have a good time recording that episode? I remember we were in one of the extra rooms at the school, and we sat down and we talked for 20 minutes just about everything and anything, and it was a very fun time. I'm hoping I can get podcast interviews in person again soon because it's so much fun to actually be there with the person. The next clip I want to play for you guys, I was a little nervous to do this interview, not gonna lie, with Aaron Frost. He makes music. Let's hear the clip.
What was the first song that you made?
It was a song called It Was You'll Go Far. I made it about almost 4 years ago now. And yeah, it was from my first EP sort of thing.
Aaron Frost was one of my favorite interviews I've done on the podcast so far because I actually enjoy some of his music. His new stuff is not bad at all, and you guys should definitely check it out. The next clip I want to play you is from the first episode with my girlfriend Brooke on it. We talked about Canadian actors and their movies. Here's what she had to say.
All right, how about Kung Fu Panda? He plays not a huge role in it, but you know.
Yeah, the Mantis is pretty cool. I'd give this movie a 8 out of 10. It's funny, it's family friendly. There's like lots of action going on. There's a noodle shop. Noodles.
Noodles.
And I just think it's a great movie. Like, for a kids movie, it's pretty great.
I think that's the podcast episode that I spent the most time prepping for, which is kind of crazy to think because, I don't know, I feel like I wouldn't need to prep as much for that one, but I remember I prepped a lot for that particular episode. The next clip coming up is one that I laughed at when I went back and tried to find clips to play on this episode. It's from special guest Terry Coleman talking about a new food that she created.
How about a favorite food?
I don't know. I don't really have a favorite food. I like to. Oh my gosh! I created a new food today.
Created a new food.
That can be my favorite food. Yeah, it's a cake, and then I put milk in it in a bowl, like cereal, so it's soggy cake.
Oh wow, that sounds absolutely amazing. What kind of cake was it?
Orange cake.
Oh my gosh, that sounds even more delicious. Orange cake with milk in it.
Milk, not milk. But yes.
Milk.
Yeah. So that can be my new favorite food since I created it.
One thing I could not stop thinking about while editing this clip to put it back into this podcast is, do I say milk weird? Or was she just messing around? I can't really tell. Do I say milk? Is it milk? Do I say milk weird? That's how I say it. Milk. I don't know. Had me thinking. The next clip I want to play for you guys is from special guest Catherine Pune. I ask her what episode of The Office is her favorite.
Favorite Office episode?
Diversity Day.
Diversity Day? That one is so good.
Or Dinner Party.
Dinner Party is cringy as
Yes.
fuck, but it is so good. Diversity Day, I love when he's like, "Oh, what's your name?" "Mr. Brown." That's a test. I won't call you that. That is so good.
I kind of want to get like a little like mini pull-out TV to just put in my room.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you gotta do that.
Yeah.
That isn't the only episode that I've talked about The Office. Me and my girlfriend Brooke also broke down our top 10 favorite Office episodes in a totally different episode. Go check that out if you guys are interested in that. One of my favorite episodes, I know I've said that a lot, but This was truly one of my favorites, and I laughed so hard recording this that I had to turn away from the microphone because it was going to catch it. It was Would You Rather Part 1 with Asia Ross and Nolan Croich. Nolan's response here had me dying.
Would you rather be sent back in time to 1900 or go ahead in time to 2100? Nolan?
Do I have to stay there or can I come back?
No, yeah, you come back.
I think I'd probably go into the future just to kind of see what things were like. But if I had to stay there, I might pick the past because I don't know, the way the world's changing nowadays, I don't know if I want to live in 100 years.
Yeah. How about you, Rachel?
I agree with Nolan, yeah. But it also depends on like how like the time paradoxes would work too. Like if I go to the past and something changes and then that completely screws up the future and stuff, then like I don't know, I just wouldn't want that.
Yeah, that's my thinking behind it.
And then same thing for the future.
Yeah.
I hope you guys laughed at Nolan's response too. If you know Nolan, then you probably weren't expecting that out of him. And he's one of my best friends, and I was not even expecting that out of him. So that is one of my favorite clips from this first year of this podcast. The next clip that I want to talk about, or present to you guys, represent to you guys, is from special guest Hans Born. This is by far my longest episode. It's close to an hour long. Hans asked the question of how I lost my virginity. I'm not going to play that clip. I'm going to play Hans telling a little bit about how he lost his.
She's following in her mom's footsteps. Her mom was a vet. And so she didn't mind that I always smelled like cow, which honestly, now that I'm here, I can really smell it. But back then, I couldn't. I was like nose blind to it. And so I thought, jumping in that calf tub was a good idea. But in hindsight, maybe it wasn't. But anyway, it was like 3 a.m. once I got there, or 2 or so. And then I sat there and I talked to her. And then, the whole thing kind of unfolded. And you can imagine what happens next kind of ordeal. And yeah, that's how I lost it. And then I drove home. I jumped back through the window. And yeah, I was kind of happy and tired. But it was like early in the morning. But I was like, this isn't a super big deal. Everybody puts a big emphasis on it. And I don't think you actually have to. But I thought I'd share that story because I thought it was interesting. And it was an experience that every person has to have. And you kind of learn that you don't put it on a pedestal like we were talking before with Simpson stuff.
Yeah, I was like really nervous, but then it kind of just happened, and I'm like, damn, why the fuck was I nervous?
Yeah, and then after, did it change your life at all, or were you just the same Hayden after?
I mean, I don't know. I guess I was a lot. I can't believe I'm gonna say this on the podcast, but I was a lot more like always.
Yeah.
Listening back to this episode, I'm so glad I bleeped that word out because I do not want to say that on the podcast. That was a great episode with Hans. If you guys haven't listened to that, you have to go back and listen to that episode with Hans. It's long, but it's worth it. He is so freaking funny, and he comes back on to talk about country and rap music. And Hans is one of my favorite people in the world. He's so hilarious. Everything that comes out of his mouth, so freaking funny. The next clip is from my most listened to episode. This is with Wyatt Nebenak. He talks about an injury that he got during a hockey game. Here's part of it.
The game finishes and I go into the dressing room. I'm not going to tell you whose mom, but one of the moms comes up to me and she's like, have you seen she said scrotum, but I thought you said sperm. And she's like, have you seen your sperm yet? And we've been in the dressing room for 1 minute. And I look at her like, what the fuck did you just say to me? So she looks at me, your thing. And I said, oh, yeah, it's fine.
I loved recording this episode with Wyatt there. He, along with Hans, are so fucking funny. Wyatt has a great story about everything. He can make any story funny, and I haven't talked to him in a while, but if you're listening to this, Wyatt, just know that I appreciate you coming onto the podcast talking, and obviously you did something right because you're the most listened to podcast in this first year. So thank you, Wyatt, for that and sharing your story. The last highlight that I want to play for you guys is from the episode where my sister Alyssa came on, and she was very mean to me.
What's it like now at home now that I'm not living there?
A lot better.
Oh.
There's a lot more food around.
There's-
Quieter, cleaner.
Cleaner.
Literally.
Really cleaner.
Yeah.
How-
I got
how's
2
that-
rooms now.
I was just gonna say, how's that even possible? I stayed in my room the entire time I was there.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a lot cleaner. The energy's better without you.
Oh, okay. So I give off that
Yeah.
negative energy.
Yeah, you
Oh,
really
okay.
possess that, yeah.
Okay.
Listen, I don't know what she means by negative energy, but I don't agree with her that I bring that negative energy. Just gonna put that out there right now.
So there are 12 of my favorite clips from this first year. I know I've said it a lot, but I've really enjoyed this last year talking into a microphone for everybody listening. I appreciate each and every individual that has listened to this podcast. You guys have no idea what it means to me. When I started this up, it was mostly just a joke. You know, I didn't think I was going to end up doing it every week for a year, and at times it's been hard. There's been times where I've got down and I wasn't sure what to talk about, but I wanted to get something out there just on the small chance that maybe listening to my podcast could make somebody laugh and make somebody have 10 seconds of their day be a little bit better. I know that's really gushy, and I don't know, maybe that's a dumb thing to say, but that's kind of my thinking into this. You know, we're almost at 1,700 total listens of this podcast, of this show. That's crazy to me as well. You know, I didn't think I was going to get the international listenership that I've been able to get. You know, the listens in the US are actually pretty steady. And I don't know who you are listening in the United States, but I do appreciate you. Also, the local support is what really has been the best part about this. You know, people replying to me on Snapchat or hitting me up on Snapchat saying that they like the podcast episode, telling me on Instagram that they like the podcast episode, following the Instagram and the Twitter, all that stuff. I appreciate everything that each and every one of you has done to help grow this show and help make this show better. I'm looking forward to 2021. I hope to really do some more special things with this show, but I also want to get more listeners. Clearly, that's the end goal in this, is to get a lot of listeners. Maybe one day I'll start making money off of this. I mean, the chances are a little unlikely, but that's the hope. I know this is a longer podcast episode, but hey, it's 1 year. Let's celebrate. Thank you guys, as always, for listening. If you guys enjoy the show, be sure to head over to anchor.fm/HaydenR. That's anchor.fm/HaydenR. There you'll be able to find links to all of your favorite podcasting apps. That includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you listen to podcasts. While you're there, you'll find links to the Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Hit me up on all those platforms at Hayden Podcast and let me know some of your favorite podcast episodes and podcast moments. Thank you guys, as always, again, for one terrific year. Let's look ahead to another. We'll be back next week with another new episode. See you guys then.